going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. This is a special meeting for Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024, for a budget public hearing. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
I will, Madam Mayor. Tim Hale is not going to be present. Stephanie Nowers.
Here.
Dee McKee. Here. Robert Yemp will not be present. Bill Gamble. Here. Dimitri Fonoff.
Here.
Ron Bernier.
Here.
Madam Mayor, you do have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, then the agenda is approved as presented. If you'll all stand, and Jim Houston, would you lead us in the pledge? And for everybody, the flag is in the back. So go ahead, sir. Yes, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on our agenda is audience participation. We do have a sign-up sheet, and we will be calling on those people first, but we will also give opportunity to anyone that hasn't signed up that would like to address the assembly. And so when I call your name, if you'll come up, and you can either stand or be seated, whatever you would wish. Just be sure that you're close to the mic. State your name, and you'll have 3 minutes to discuss, tell, inform the assembly on any subject. It doesn't have to do with the budget. It can be any subject that you would like to inform the assembly of. So the first person that I have signed up is Patty Bills. Hi.
Hello. I'm pleased to see you all here tonight, Mayor DeVries and Assembly Board members. My name is Patty Bills. I'm a 43-year resident of Willow, a retired English teacher from Susitna Valley High. Willow is a pretty sweet little town in all seasons, and this is the hub. The location hosts the farmers markets in the summer, Willow Winter Carnival, and Iditarod in the winter, plus community dinners for all the major holidays. We're delighted with the renovations of this community center and our new library. The museum was open today. I hope you got a chance to view our history. Also, please walk through our library. It has artwork and computers for public use and meeting rooms and so many opportunities for children. We have weekly story hour, and this year we start a new mentorship program for elementary students. Every summer we have great participation in our summer reading program, and we give away free books on 4th of July parade. I particularly want to tell you what our library is doing in this community, for this community. We have a whip-smart librarian with 13 years of experience here, and she keeps us all up to date on opportunities and technology. This library is actually the art gallery for Willow. Willow has fabulous local artists, and we are proud to show their work. This month it's Karen Matson, so check out her paintings in the meeting room. Talented people move here to Willow for the natural beauty of Alaska, for the lakes and the rivers and the trails and our proximity to Hatcher Pass. That's much of what their painting is about. Our meeting room is booked for many diverse groups every week: the quilters, the dog mushers, the trails committee, the garden club and the Lions Club, and many more. The library provides the social connections so necessary for this geographically spaced rural community. Thank you for coming here tonight. We thank you for all you do for us. You are truly appreciated. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Brenda McCain.
Hello, welcome.
Mayor DeVries and Assembly persons. My name is Brenda McCain. I'm the Program Manager for Willow CERT. Willow Community Emergency Response Team is a group of 30 volunteers who have completed a standardized FEMA training program. There's more than 2,800 CERT teams nationwide. We are not first responders, but we train regularly to become capable neighbors helping neighbors. We work to promote safety and emergency preparedness in Willow. Our team was founded in 2015, and we were the only CERT team in the Valley then, and the Mat-Su Borough was not involved in CERT at that time. We became a FEMA-registered team, and with Waco as our sponsor. Our team became closely associated with the Mat-Su Borough EOC during and after the Sockeye fire. The relationship quickly grew, and our team has been sustained because of the training and guidance provided by the EOC. Our team is trained to play a supporting role in disasters and other emergencies and events, and is activated by the EOC. Our team promotes safety along the July 4th parade route and in the community center parking lot for Halloween trunk or treat. We co-host the biennial Sioux Valley Emergency Fair with the Trapper Creek and Talkeetna CERTs. I gave a flyer to each of you about that. It's coming up May 18th. We provide safety and preparedness information at Farmers Market, Founders Day, the Mat-Su Expo, and the Health Fair. And last year, during Stop the Bleed month in May, our team provided 10 classes for the community in Stop the Bleed skills. Willow CERT is proud to say that we have the longest running and largest CERT in the state of Alaska. We have received multiple commendations from the borough, an honorable mention from FEMA, and have been written up in a national magazine for our accomplishments. We're also one of the best recruitment tools for the Willow Caswell Fire Department, because if anyone joins our team and is not eligible for AARP, the fire department steals them away from our team. So I could not be more grateful to the EOC staff for their support and growth of the CERTs in the Valley. I would like to close by saying that I personally support Director Barkley's request to increase the hourly pay for responding firefighters from $13 to $15 per hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jim?
One
sir, go
last thing I wanted to tell you.
Sure.
We currently have 30 members on our team, but since we started this program in 2015, we've had over 100 people take CERT training, because a lot of people take the training not to join the CERT team, but just so that we can be more prepared. So we have a lot of prepared people in the community, and we offer this training every other year. So.
Good deal. Jim Houston.
Welcome to Willow. I'm Jim Houston. I'm one of the founders of the Willow Historical and Wildlife Foundation, and I'd like to address you under old business, that being a resolution from 1988, number 138. Lonnie has maybe distributed to each of you the resolution. It's a resolution of Assembly of the Matanuska-Susitna Borough, Alaska, naming the Willow Community Center as the Rosalie White Community Center. Whereas the Willow Area Community Organization has requested that the Wasilla Community Center be named the Rosalie White Community Center, and whereas Rosalie White expressed her devotion to the welfare of the community of Willow by giving generously of her time, talents, and resources. And whereas Rosalie White's efforts towards the betterment of the Willow community were recognized and at the dedication of the community center, whereas the permanent recognition of her value to the community is appropriate, now therefore be it resolved by the Assembly of the Matanuska-Susitna Borough that the Willow Community Center be named the Rosalie White Community Center. That was passed and approved by the Assembly of the Matanuska-Susitna Borough this 19th day of July, 1988. It was introduced by Dorothea Jones and prepared by the borough attorney. So I have done some calculations and got prices and copies to Lonnie and to Joe Metzger, what the costs would be to put the letters on the building to be appropriately like the aluminum letters that's on this wall directly behind you. There's plenty of room for it to go there. And through the years that, 26 years that this pending on old business, I hope that we can soon close it out to the respect of Rosalie White. So I thank you for that. And while I'm here, I'd like to mention one other thing, that on the 28th, that's next Sunday, at the Willow United Methodist Church, is a celebration of life for Jim Norcross, who was very valued by the borough and by the residents of the valley through his efforts on the road taking road commission, we'll say. Sorry that I messed up on that, but even I get nervous. So thank you very much for coming out and seeing us. And by the way, any of you that were not able to get over to the opening of the log building, the museum, I'd be proud and honored if you could come on over after the meeting, and I'll open it up again, because it is a treat. We've restored history in many ways of Willow for your appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan Whitten?
Thank you, Assembly members and Mayor, for letting me speak. I'm not an excellent public speaker, but I'll do my best. When I moved to Unalaska, Alaska in 1977, the only library was in the high school. But in order to serve the whole community, the school had hours allowing the public to check out books. When I moved off grid to live 2.5 miles in on the unmaintained Trail Ridge Road in Trapper Creek in the mid-'80s, there was no community library. But the state of Alaska would mail me a box of books every month that a librarian in Juneau selected for me. It was like getting a present every month. Then, because it was important to them, the community of Trapper Creek organized, raised the money, and got a space next to the ambulance barn for a library. When I lived in Trapper Creek, my library card gave me access to the other libraries in the borough, so I got books from Talkeetna, Palmer, Wasilla, and Big Lake. When we moved back on the road system to Willow in the late 90s, and I used my library card in the small library next to the community center. Back then, each library seemed to have its own personality. Big Lake Library had the best audiobook collection. Palmer Library had the best crafting and knitting books. Wasilla Library seemed to have an eclectic mix of books. Now, Trapper Creek, Talkeetna, and Willow have new modern libraries, and Big Lake is currently working to improve their library. The reason I'm torturing you with my personal history is to show you how important libraries are to Alaskans. I had access to the library system no matter where and how far off grid I lived in the state. Libraries have always been important centers of education and public meeting space in Alaskan communities. Libraries welcome all people, regardless of economic and educational status, and when I lived off grid, whether you'd showered that morning or not. Every library has friendly, helpful staff willing to assist with finding a book, with a computer search, with filling out forms, with copying, and with many other situations too numerous to list. The library provides a comfortable and free space for reading the current newspapers, the current magazines, and the current bestsellers. It provides free access to the internet, which is very important these days. Alaska has always encouraged free and open access to the libraries. Libraries have always been supported by the independent free thinkers who choose to live in wild Alaska. Show your support for our wonderful Willow Library, the hardworking library staff, and our librarian, Julie. Thanks.
Thank you. Greg Jones?
I have a handout.
Okay, if you can give them to the clerk, please.
As with others, I want to thank you for coming to Willow and spending time with us here. I want to talk about something that's not on your agenda tonight, but it's just an update on the property that you postponed until June to determine a decision on. You gave us time to prepare to acquire the property. And let me just start by saying thank you for that. And recognizing that there would be extra time needed to put together a plan for that. This is a complex project that includes both public and private interests, but we've not wasted our time. And today we're not asking you for any action today. We're just simply giving you an update. Our first task was to reach a consensus on what we were going to do, how we were going to manage the property, what we would do with it if we successfully acquired it. Turns out it's a pretty simple plan. It has two elements. First, we hope to add most or all of it, everything that we can acquire, to the Nancy Lake State Recreation Area. And note that this is the most popular multi-use recreation facility in the state. It's a significant economic driver for the borough and for the Willow area. Enhancing it is a no-brainer on many levels. Second, we'd like to, if we are unable to acquire all of the property, we'd like to align the ultimate use of any property that's not acquired for public uses with the comprehensive plan for both the borough and Willow. The simple way to do that is with restrictions on the deed that would limit it to recreation and residential use. We believe that adds value over the unrestricted because it eliminates the fear and it creates a direction that the property can go, one that's very popular in the Willow area. We're making progress on both elements. Our first task was to make sure that the state of Alaska Division of Parks would accept the property and include it in the park. And we have the letter that we've attached there. And Steve Charles will talk, I think, in a minute and give you a little more detail on that. He was instrumental in that. We've also initiated a search for funding, and Steve, again, can provide more details on that. I'm lucky that Steve is involved in this. We are all lucky that Steve is involved in this. I can say that a number of funding sources have been identified and applications submitted. Oftentimes with a project like this, when there are going to be multiple funders, some will hold back and wait to see what the initial funders are going to do. We have had some positive results already, and expect to have more. The only caveat that we have here is that we don't know if we'll have enough time to get all of these organizations lined up by the June meeting that this was to be brought back up. These organizations operate at their own time, their own rate of work. We're also working on the language that we would add to the deed. With that, I appreciate your flexibility and hope that you keep an open mind on this project.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Steve?
Mayor, Assembly, and staff, borough staff. My name is Steve Charles. I live in Willow. Along with Greg, I would like to thank the Assembly for postponing the decision on the Long Lake Road parcel sale. Greg just gave a good general assessment of the community project and I would like to give you more details on our progress. At the March general meeting of the Willow Area Community Organization, our community council, an ad hoc committee was created and the board approved a letter supporting the effort to find alternative solutions to the use of the 6 parcels. And that letter is included in your packet there we just handed out. We also would like to provide a letter from the superintendent of state parks accepting responsibility for any land donated to the Nancy Lake Recreation Area. One point of interest, our research has shown that 2 of the parcels included of the 6 were recommended for inclusion into the recreation area in the 2016 Nancy Lake Management Plan. To give you an idea of the possibilities, For the parcels for future recreation, we have contacted a professional trail builder to develop a conceptual trail and facility plan. Alongside that, a local nonprofit is seeking land to invest in a community recreation center, land with a high potential for outdoor trails. These land parcels are under their consideration. But the big news is our ad hoc committee has already received financial support. We have acquired up to $80,000 in grants from the Mat-Su Trails and Parks Foundation and the Friends of State Parks, Mat-Su, for the purpose of purchasing these parcels. As Greg mentioned, this is just the start of our fundraising effort. And with others, as we all know, other investors or potential funders always wait for people to go first before they fund. We appreciate the need the borough has to find revenue through property taxes and sales taxes. We also believe that such a piece of land as this has its own unique economic value for the borough, whether it's through forestry, resource extraction, residential, commercial, or recreational. Research has repeatedly shown that investing in trails and parks increases nearby property taxes, thus potentially offsetting revenue from sales and taxes, as well as supporting local businesses. Therefore, we believe the best economic value of these specific land parcels and the best financial return for the borough is to reserve them for trails and recreational development. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to June 18th when we will give an updated report on our progress. Thank you.
Thank you. DJ McBride.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm DJ McBride, Chair of RSA 15 Caswell Lakes, right up the road here. I am in support of adding a fourth superintendent, road superintendent, because since Mike Lackle retired 2 years ago, we've had 3 superintendents and we'll be getting a fourth in June that have rotated in and out supervising our roads. Having a fourth will take the pressure off the 3 that you currently have now. The road service contracts work better when there's a proper oversight by borough personnel. Adding the fourth superintendent will improve the relationship between the borough, the contractors, and your residents, which means we'll get lots less complaints and a lot more work done. Thank you.
Thank you. Sid? Oh, this is public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So that concludes the people that have signed up. But as I said, even if you didn't sign up and would like to address the assembly, you're welcome to do that at this time. Just come forth and state your name and tell us what you would like to inform us of.
Cheering squad behind me there. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the Assembly, visitors from afar, and fellow residents of Willow. My name is Madeline Goki, and I'm here tonight representing the Willow Historical and Wildlife Foundation, of which I'm the president. Willow, or WHWF, is the acting historical committee of Waco and is charged in Waco's bylaws with preserving Waco's history and managing the museum in the old log building. Thank you to those of you who had the time to come over earlier this evening and check out our new museum. Last fall, on the recommendation of Judy Bittner from the Alaska Historical Society, who came out from Anchorage to check out our museum, the Alaska Association for Historic Preservation honored WHWF with their Historic Preservation Award for adaptive use of the old community building. The award criteria for nomination included historic buildings and archaeological historical sites that have been successfully stabilized, renovated, restored, or adapted for new use within the past 5 years. Because Waco is our overseeing entity and manager of the building, they too received the award. And because the Mat-Su Borough is the actual owner of said building, the final award goes to you. So may I present to you the Alaska Association for Historic Preservation's 15th Annual Historic Preservation Award, honoring excellence in historic preservation throughout Alaska. Thank you for coming.
And for any of you that didn't get a chance, like Jim said, we will be open immediately following the hearings for last chance. Also, there's some leftover cookies and coffee on the counter if anyone's hungry.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to address the assembly? We probably won't be here for another year, so it's a good time. Okay, all righty. So I'll go ahead and close audience participation. The next item on our agenda, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 24024, an ordinance appropriating monies from the central treasury for the borough operating funds, enterprise funds, education operating fund, and capital funds, establishing the rate of levy for all borough functions for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025, and setting the surcharge rate for the wireline and wireless enhanced 911 systems for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing, and we do have a sign-up sheet now. And so Sid?
Okay, my name is Sidney Burtz, and I'm a former board member of Waco. And also, at this point in time, I have been appointed on a committee to look over and try to renegotiate, I guess I should say, our management agreement with the borough in Waco for the management of the community center. Kind of start back when I was on the board previously, our current treasurer came out with a nice spreadsheet, basically, and I handed that to you, showing we're going broke. And if some people might ask why all of a sudden, since 2020, is your budget going downhill? And we kind of put two and two together, and there was a bar out here called Sully's that was selling pull tabs for us that was making us a lot of money. And since then, they have closed down, and our gambling, our budget, or our gaming budget has since dropped immensely. And what we have to really go on right now is some rentals, a little bit of gaming. We have a Carnival, which has been averaging about $25,000 a year. And we have Iditarod funding for about $8,000. But as you can see from this graph, we are dipping into our savings account at quite an alarming rate. And by this time next year, we will probably have no money in our savings. And we will have to do something different, obviously, with the management contract because we can't afford to pay our share. At this point in time, for the most part, Waco is paying 60% of the operation cost of this building. The borough is paying 40%. I would like to see this contract renegotiated for fiscal year 2025, where the borough is paying 90% and we're paying 10%. I think that is a more reasonable, because we have to, the only way that we can fund this is we have to do it by fundraisers. We can't tax anybody, the community out here or anything. Now, I did have a conversation with Eric Phillips back in December and Joe Metzger on our problem. They understood it, and they were very kind enough. The best they could help us with in 2024 was to help us on $12,500 that they would absorb out of our costs to help us through 2024. But that does not help us for 2025, and they cannot give us any relief for 2025. Only the borough will be able to do that. So this is why I am here before the borough today to ask for your consideration in adding money to the budget to help us keep this community center open. As you've heard from all the testimonies here, this place is dear to our hearts, and it's a great gift that the borough has given us. But bottom line is, we're not making enough money to afford it. We need some help.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any questions?
No, it's just, yeah, thank you, Sid. Okay. Mara, is that how you pronounce that? M-A-U-R-A? Mara, she, okay.
Like Laura, but with an F.
Thank you.
Welcome to Willow. My
Thank
name
you.
is Maura Shea, and I'm the Waco treasurer, but I'm here tonight representing the Willow Pickleball Club. If you don't know what pickleball is, it's imagine a game played on a small tennis court with a paddle and wiffle balls. It's a fast-paced game that challenges coordination and reflexes. Club members range in age from 16 to 75 plus, and we really enjoy playing with each other. We set up 2 courts in this room during the winter months because there are no other indoor facilities within 30 miles. Last month, we had 36 different people come play. We are aware of the financial challenges Waco faces in maintaining the community center. The club decided to charge dues to its members and contribute 50% of the amount collected to Waco to help pay for this wonderful facility. It's a great place to socialize with friends and get a good workout in on cold, dark winter evenings. We hope the Assembly will designate funds to help Waco keep this community center open for the Willow Pickleball Club and the other community members who need a place to meet, socialize, and play. Thank you.
Thank you. So those are the only people that signed up, but again, we will open up to testimony from anyone. The only restriction at this time is that it needs to be addressed regarding ordinance 24-024, which is the budget for the coming fiscal year for the Matsu Borough. So anyone else is welcome. And even if you testified under audience participation, if you want to testify under this ordinance, you may do so also. You're not going to tell us how to spend the money, I guess, huh? Or not going to give us any money? Give you some time. Yes.
Hi, Mayor DeVries and Assembly members. I'm John Court. I'm with the Talkeetna Community Council. And one issue that I did want to bring to you guys' attention is at our library, we're trying to fund a crosswalk. Currently, we have a bike trail that goes along the spur road and access to the library. There's no crosswalk or safe crossing there. And so our council and our Friends of the Library organization is trying to raise awareness and funding so that we can develop a safe crosswalk. And we've got the blessing of DOT to do it, but they don't have funding for us. So if you could maybe look at that in the budget as a possibility of helping us fund that so we have a safer crosswalk for our kids and community members that attend the library, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll make it so uncomfortable. Either you'll talk or you go to sleep, right? One last chance. Okay. So I'll go ahead and close the public hearing for this evening. And Deputy Mayor. Deputy Mayor.
I move to continue the public hearings on ordinance 24-024 to April 25th, 24, 6 p.m. at the Menard Sports Complex.
Okay, is there any discussion regarding continuing the public hearing to Thursday night in Wasilla? Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, then the public hearing is to continue on Thursday evening, April 25th, 2024 at the Menard Sports Complex. Now it's time for closing comments. Assemblyperson McKee, do you have closing comments?
I do have a question. The gentleman that was talking about the crosswalk, what are they crossing? Are they crossing a highway or what are they crossing? That sounded.
Crossing the Talkeetna Spur Road about 1 mile from the downtown side of right the library. I'm trying to think, mile 13 or so.
Is that a pretty busy?
It is, yeah. especially in the summer months, it's really busy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Deputy Mayor, parting comments, sir?
Hello? One recommendation I might have for the fundraisers, everybody loves guns. And a good gun raffle, I think might bring you some good benefits there. And the other thing would be ATVs. You got everybody coming out from Anchorage and stuff, ATVing, you know, one of those type of raffles. So, but other than that, I just wanted to thank the Lord for the longer days, the blessings that he's given us, the wonderful state and borough that we live in. I just ask him to remember our veterans, our sick, our addicted, our people that are in need, and just to love your neighbor. In Jesus' name, amen.
Parting comments, Assemblyperson Nowers?
Thank you. Always a good turnout at Willow. I really appreciate it. I think I've been on the assembly for almost 6 years, and I think the idea of a 4th road service area superintendent came up the very first time I was here. I think that's actually going to happen. Finally, cross fingers. To the parcels, the Long Lake parcels, I absolutely would have no problem giving extra time. It's always welcome when the citizens are working to try to find a solution, and I've been involved in trying to do those kind of land deals. They aren't anything that goes fast, and those kind of resources, trails, recreation, they're so valuable to the community. So I appreciate that folks are taking their time to try to provide an asset for the community, which kind of speaks to this center. And it's refreshing to hear about the value we place on the libraries out here. Our libraries and librarians have had a tough time the past several months. So I know there's a lot of people in the community that value the services they provide. And so it's nice to hear about those services that are provided. I would say one suggestion, but you've probably already pursued it because a lot of smart people out here, the signage for Rosalie White with the Rasmussen Foundation, with the artist, support that. I'm just always looking to be creative with supporting it with tax dollars, but finding ways to make those tax dollars go far. So if it can be a match kind of situation. It's since 1988, so I can't imagine what the cost was in 1988 dollars compared to now. And then with the Waco Center, I just say that's a tough one. It's always harder for the borough to come up with operating funds for facilities long-term. The one-time capital costs are much easier. So I think we'd have to be creative. And the more the community can fund it, the better, just because our property taxes are already high in terms of what people are paying, because that's our only source of funding. I mean, that's part of our Achilles heel out here, that we don't have a lot of commercial industrial development to spread the costs on anything but the property owners. And you guys out here pay higher than we do in Palmer, just because your fire service and your road service is spread over fewer people. So while I'd love to say, here's the dollars, it would come with, here's some extra on your tax bill. And so like, if we can try to find a solution around that. And then Talkeetna Crosswalk, thanks for letting me know about that and that it exists. I just wanted to say thank you again and just acknowledge that I'm up here listening to what you're saying. So thank you.
Parting comments, Assemblyperson Campbell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's interesting, my first time here as an assembly member, being on this side of the table, because in the past when I came up here, I always was out there in the crowd. Still learning, brand new assembly member. I could repeat everything that Assemblymember Nauer said, but I won't waste your time with that. So thank you for coming tonight and sharing your thoughts with us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Parting comments, Assemblyperson Pana?
Thank you so much for coming. Last time the meeting was a lot more different because of Abbey Hill and all that was on the table, but nobody spoke up about that. And Ms. McKee made some efforts at that time, and kind of taken its course, but so it's a lot more relaxed atmosphere here today, I feel like. I want to appreciate all the positive comments that you guys gave. The ride over here is always beautiful, and looking forward to visit the museum after this, and be here around if anybody else wants to say hello or anything like that, but always nice to see you guys here. Thank you.
And I'll just echo everybody else's. Thank you. It's a very nice crowd. Thank you very much for coming out. And I certainly did enjoy visiting and seeing the museum. Thank you, Jim, for that. And so we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 6:41. Oh,
I want to say something.
oh, okay. Sorry about
Madam
that.
Mayor.
Mhm.
While we have everyone, we're in Willow. I just want to let the community know that, of course, this year our election's going to be when we're with the state. So it's going to be a very busy election. We generally have a hard time finding enough people in Willow to help us out and work the election. So anybody here interested in doing that, please get a hold of my office, and we would love to take your application.
Borough Manager Mike Brown, parting comment.
No, it's okay. I want to the community. I really appreciate when we look across the borough. We have a lot of great volunteerism and folks that are pouring into the community in different ways. It's very obvious in the Northern Valley. Appreciate John coming down from Talkeetna. We know Talkeetna is very active. Trapper Creek is. It's great seeing DJ from RSA 15, the CERT team, the community organization, the museum, and that group. Like, it's just really cool. I didn't know you had pickleball either, so I learned that tonight. But I just really do appreciate, I know sometimes it can feel a little bit removed because we're in the core area or in Palmer. But we really do appreciate the activism of the community, especially in these more rural areas. That really helps a lot in terms of governing, because we don't have a lot of resources out in a lot of the areas. I mean, we run a pretty lean ship, or a pretty tight ship. So I do appreciate that and the work that goes into that, and just seeing it. I mean, I was looking in the back, there were a couple firefighters, they took off probably wearing Todd Smolden out and wearing the poor guy down. But it just everywhere you look, there's folks plugging in different ways. And I talked to Chief Boothby a little bit earlier, and he was just kind of explaining the Willow mentality. And he's, about like, people have to get involved. You don't just sit back. You don't have the luxury of just looking around and complaining. You have to get involved. And it makes a big difference. So I just want to at least recognize and acknowledge that tonight and say thank you for all you do, just to make the borough a better place to live, especially in these remote areas. So thank you for all you're doing there.
Anyone else have any parting comments? Cheyenne, did you find $1 million while you were sitting here tonight or something? She's the finance director for the borough, so, okay. So, seeing and hearing no one, and without objection, we will adjourn at 6:44.